Alright, so we are now recording. So yeah, on the forums the other day, someone made a post about, um, what was it called? It was after they released the Rank 2 stuff. Someone made a post. I had heard rumors that it might happen. I can't see the title of it. Rank Up was a bad idea, is the title of it. Um, yeah, I was kind of hoping they wouldn't do something like this, and then they just dropped it with honestly very little heads up. Um, and I'm not a drama person, as you can tell. I'm very laid back, So I'm not like one of those people that wants to go yell at a mountaintop if I'm gonna stop playing a game or if I have problems with the game. I'm not gonna make a post and be like, "This is why I'm quitting the game," blah blah blah. Um, but I did want the devs to know why my interest was waning. And so I tagged on to someone that already made a post and sort of tried to write out my thoughts on the issue, and this is what prompted me getting directly messaged asking, hey, can you elaborate more on why you're feeling this way? So yeah, I have no problems at all. Um, so the first thing I said, I don't know if it's easy or hard for you guys to see this on stream, but the biggest thing is just look, the events are cookie cutter. There's nothing new to do, and so far they haven't really added anything that's entertaining. There's no entertainment value added to the game, and so it's getting stale. Like, you grind and grind and grind so that you can get your guys better to do stuff with them. Um, and if there's nothing to do with the guys that you have, with the heroes you pull, then what's the point? And that's sort of the mindset I was getting in, where I was like, really, I think it came twofold. Two things happened. One was I pulled my first Nat 5, which is broken right now. I pulled the Water Gunner, and the Water Gunner currently doesn't counter uh, block like he should, or a guard. That's what it's called, guard. So he's supposed to remove guard the same way he removes taunt, where he removes all buffs and stuns and it's unblockable. It says in his description, if they're blocking or guarding, it's unblock, or it can't be prevented, right? And the stun can't be removed. But I showed on stream, I skipped last week, 2 weeks ago, whenever I did my stream and I did the Gunner DPS test, I showed how it has zero impact on guard. So it's not a counter to guard at all. And that's sort of the only reason he's good. And so half the reason he's good is just kind of out the window. Um, so needless to say, that was kind of disheartening. And then on top of that, the water event came around, or the water festival event, and this is, I want to say, at least third, maybe fourth water event I've participated in. And you're just doing the same thing. You're running the same areas, trying to get the same drops that you were before. It's like, I've done this before. At this point, I'm like, maybe I can level up Arctis, but I have two AoE sleepers already. I have High C and Jung Ma, who are AoE sleepers. They kind of fill that role nicely together. Obviously, I could get some use out of Arctis. He's a good hero, I'm not gonna lie, and that's probably what I'm gonna work on if I was working on it. But I just, like, the motivation wasn't there. I didn't feel like, oh boy, here's a hero event, or not hero event, a water event, a festival event, and that's sort of how all the events, everything that comes around now, I'm just kind of like, okay, what's the big deal? And if you think about all the events, there's nothing special to them. I would say, except for, I think, the limited dungeon, the special dungeon events that have that special floor 7 that's like super difficult. I actually really like that event. I think it's one of the best events, but it only comes around, once a month. And that's, I actually made a whole bullet point to it. So I'll get to that in a second, because I made a whole bullet point specifically to that. The second thing that I mentioned is Alliance Wars. It's a flop. Like, I did a whole video a few weeks ago where I outlined the points of what needs to change with Alliance War. And they did change some stuff, They changed one thing. They made the top wars 1v1, so that you don't have, you're gonna always have a 2v1 whenever you get to the top. It's a good strategy to do 2v1. So why would you not do that? So they changed the top two alliances to be 1v1. That's the only change they made. I had like a 5-point bullet point list, and I think the biggest thing is the time constraint that they do. Alliance Wars are like, you have to be on at this time, you have to play for 4 hours, everyone on your alliance has to be active, or you're suffering because of that. And okay, Clash of Clans has Clan Wars, right? They do limited attacks for every person. Every person in your clan gets 2 attacks, and you have 24 hours to use those 2 attacks. That's it. Summoners Wars has their little guild, I think, Guild Wars. They have a little guild v guild thing where you have 3 attacks per player, and that's it. And you have 12 hours. And so anytime from those 12 hours, you can use those 3 attacks because you're limited. And those are 2 games that are like, Clash of Clans has been in the top like 2 to 3 grossing apps for how many years now? And they do it that way, so you can't tell me it's a money thing as to why you're doing like an energy thing instead of a limited how much you can do thing. I don't know. So Alliance Wars, to me, it became more, this last Alliance Wars was an attendance thing. Like, they're doing them on Saturday afternoons now, or Saturday afternoon for me on the East Coast in the US. And that's like when I do yard work. That's when I go to Lowe's and buy stuff. That's when I'm repairing stuff around the house. Like, I got shit to do on my weekends. I can't be sitting around just playing on my phone on a Saturday afternoon. I'm an adult. I got responsibility. So this past Alliance Wars, I participated for like the last hour. I got everything I needed to done. I had like an hour left before the war ended. But at the end of the war, both people on the other team and people in our team, they were like, hey, this isn't fair. We had, people that completely missed the war because they were out of town this weekend. And we had some of our strongest players that were also out of town that weekend as well. So it went both ways. Like, if you're not available for that 4-hour window, then you just hurt your team. And the fact is, if the Alliance could set when that 4-hour window was, I would still say it's too short. But they can't set it. Rumble sets it, and so it just doesn't work. It especially doesn't work when you look at the theory behind Alliance. So it's kind of interesting. When I first started playing Alliance, I did some Google searching to try to get some more information about it. This was before Nighthawk started doing his streams explaining equipment dungeon and stuff like that. So this is back in the beginning of the open release. And I found an article from, I want to say it was like a Rumble CEO or lead designer or something like that, where they were interviewing him about this game. And he said that, one of their big mantras or themes or backbone of the game or whatever is the concept of you don't have to be at your phone playing this game 24/7. And that's why they did the whole ship thing, where you can, queue up stuff and then come back later and collect your stuff. You don't have to always be at your phone. And I was like, yeah, I do like that. Again, as an adult responsibilities, I like, if I'm sitting there looking at my phone, I can do stuff like Path of the Ancients. But if I have stuff to do, I can queue up some stuff and just check back in 30, 45 minutes and keep on doing that. Alliance Wars is not like that. You have to be there for 4 hours to maximize your points. Like, it goes against what that mantra, literally, the game is supposed to be about. So I don't get their mindset behind that. I've said it before, I'll say it again. Alliance Wars needs to go back to the drawing board. I think it's a flop, and that was number 2. Number 3, the limited dungeon. Lots of fun. It's challenging content. You get to use heroes that you wouldn't normally use in other scenarios and stuff like that. The problem is it lasts like a week and then it's gone. Are they coming back around? Is there a cycle? Are we going to see that same dungeon again? We don't know. There's been no additional information about these limited time dungeons. So as someone who has to invest a lot of time to make a single hero 6-star and to gear them out, I'm very hesitant to do it for something that's going to end in 7 days. Like I want to invest in stuff that's going to help me, in a broad spectrum of the game, not in one specific element that's only going to go away. I think a really good idea for these limited dungeons is to have a rotation of them where every week there's always one of these limited dungeons that are open. That would be really cool because then you're still limited. You can still only run that one dungeon with those specific strategies or whatever for those 7 days. But the heroes that you build to counter whatever strategy that dungeon presents you, that in 6 weeks it's going to come back around to the top. So in that 6-week period of time, I can work on building those heroes so that next time it comes around, I'll be able to do floor 6. And then the time after that, I'll be able to do floor 7. That would be really cool if they did that. And the last thing I talked about was just the general gear, glitches, and balance. Everything's Swiftsteel now. It's the best, unless you have a very heavy AoE hero, and even like stuff like Dragons, Jungma, they are arguably better in Swiftsteel too, even though they're very strong AoE heroes. So what's the point of running, Petra, tanks, and everything runs Swiftsteel. The only thing I can think of is healers that don't have a good A1. High C does Swiftsteel. Most of the bards that reduce their cooldowns with their A1, they're on Swiftsteel. Like Swiftsteel is the end all be all set now. And then balancing between sets, not only is Swiftsteel sort of king of the mountain right now, but you have the 2-piece sets are really outnumbered. There's a whole, I won't go into it, but if you want to, you can look. There was a thread on the forums where they talk about which is the best 2-piece, and it's obvious that some 2-pieces are way better than other 2-pieces when you look at what the stats they provide versus the same stats that you could get using gems and in those sockets. So, I wanted to see more focus on balancing and improving what's there, and instead we got rank up, which I went on a little rant here where I compared rank up to being like if you're playing WoW and you complete a raid and you get like an entire tier 20 set, and then they come out and say, okay, tier 21 is out, but you have to run the same dungeon again. You're like, I don't want to do the same content to get the next tier of reward. I want new content, and then that new content has new rewards to it. Like, you need new content to really keep a game going or to make it feel fresh. So I was kind of feeling like that, and so I kind of ranted all that down here. And then, funny enough, within the same day, we had Rumble put out this sort of what do they call it? They call it their roadmap. Yeah, their roadmap. And this is really what we needed. Because I'm sitting there thinking, what's the point of building stuff? There's nothing coming. I don't even know what they're going to work on. Is there going to be something to look forward to? Is it going to be the same old? Am I just going to be building heroes so that I can, I don't know, do a little bit better in the arena? Advance a little bit in Path of the Ancients? And they came out with this. So if we look in July, September, these are target times. So development sometimes takes longer, sometimes it takes shorter. You as a player, you have to understand. Most players do not understand this, and as someone who writes code for a living myself, I understand it a lot. So I hope you guys can as well. These are goals, but they're meant to give us an idea of what they're working on and what they want to bring to the game, not concrete deadlines. So when they say July to September, that's what they hope for, but if they don't deliver, at least I know they're working on it. That's how I take it as a player and as someone who also develops. But co-op boss battles, that sounds really cool. A new PvE thing you can do. You can team up with, I guess, friends or maybe other randomly matched people and take down a boss together. That's pretty awesome. A new elemental type, Shadow Heroes. That's odd. How does that affect the dynamics of strengths and weaknesses? We don't know, so it'll be interesting. They say event improvements. I'm curious of what that means. Yeah, this is very vague when they say improvements, but things to make events more exciting. is definitely needed. Arena improvements definitely needed. I'm going to talk about that in a second. Um, Same thing with the so here's another thing. So you have the tournament that comes around, right? And right now it's very boring because it's basically it's 6 arena matches, up to 6 arena matches per ticket. And the only difference between that and normal arena is you don't get to pick your opponent, or you don't get to see your opponent's team before you pick your team. Other than that, it's just doing 6 arena teams. Like, it's what? BlueStacks ran out of memory. Alright, hold on, let me relaunch BlueStacks here. That's rare, I've never seen BlueStacks run out of memory before. It's very odd. It's weird that it would run out of memory while I'm looking at like a forum page on a browser, yet it doesn't run out of memory when I'm playing a game. Maybe it's not optimized for gameplay or something, I don't know. Or it's not optimized for looking at a web page. But I'll just pull it up on my desktop here. Should have done that probably to begin with, right? That would have been smarter. Let's see. Let me see if I can change the input to this now. Okay, for some reason it doesn't want to capture my Chrome screen. Apparently it's happened to Alpaca. It's weird, all the times I've streamed though, I've never had it run out of memory. Well, I guess I've never really done a lot of stuff on browser. While I've also, I've only used it to play games, right? Should be able to create a new little thing here. Let's see. Oh, that's cool, huh? Bam, there we go. Shrink it down a little bit. Alright. And blow it up. Haha. Take that, BlueStacks. Alright, so back to where we were. I just have to look on the other monitor now because I'm actually capturing my other monitor. But yeah, so rank 2 campaign, you can go through the campaign again. Leaderboard improvements, they say better UI access to leaderboards. I have a whole gripe with leaderboards that's different from all this, and that's what I'm about to talk about next. But they also got some Path of the Angel stuff, so that's sort of what they're working on now. What they have on the plate for after that is down here, where they have combat airships. Who knows what that's going to be? Could be interesting. Alliance raids sounds similar to the co-op boss battles, except your whole alliance works towards it. Maybe sounds like it could be fun. got friends hero sharing, so you can actually share heroes from your friends. This is an awesome feature that I wish was in there from the start. Because there's so many times when you want to see how a certain build plays out, and you're like, oh, this guy has them built that way, but you don't want to invest the resources until you get to try it out yourself, because you want to see how it plays with your team. Your other three heroes. So being able to borrow someone's hero and put it into your team, I think goes a long way. It is something that's really cool. Tournament brawls, I'm not sure what that is, and alliance achievements and path answer achievements, cool. It's probably extra rewards. Speaking of tournament brawls, I don't know what tournament brawls are, but speaking of tournaments in general, as well, I was talking about tournaments whenever the BlueStacks crashed. So right now tournaments are just nothing different from the arena, right? I think it would be really cool if tournaments had random modifiers on them, like maybe have them more frequently, so that it's something to do more frequently, and have them have a modifier like say a Nat 3 only tournament, where you're only allowed to use Nat 3s for this entire duration of this tournament. Or you have a water tournament, where you're only allowed to use water heroes for this tournament. Maybe you have a ladies only, where you're only allowed to use females characters. A bros before hoes, you're only allowed to use male characters in this tournament. Oh, that's cool. So Rycharge chiming in saying that is what tournament brawls are. So that's kind of had me thinking about that. So I was like, I wonder if that's what tournament brawls are. It's like a tournament with some modifier every time it comes around. Speed is inverted. See, I like that. Have something like that that's like fairly common. Maybe it occurs for like 4 days every week. Enough that it keeps you coming back, but it gives you a little bit of downtime, so it's not like overwhelming. But every time it pops back up, there's some random modifier to it that kind of throws a wrench in your normal plans. I really like that, and those are actually pretty good examples. First 5 turns, damage is reduced by 99%. Speed is inverted. Like, those are some cool stuff. I didn't even think of those. I thought of obvious ones like Nat 3 only, Nat 4 only. Like, tournaments are every 2 weeks. Yeah, the tournaments now are every 2 weeks. I think if you put modifiers on the tournaments, you could lower the rewards to compensate to have them more frequent. That way there's more stuff to do, and it stays fresh and fun because every time they pop back up, it's a modifier. I think that would be cool. That's just me throwing it out there. But anyways, so yeah, and then to go back to, let's see. Let me look at my post history to find back my post. So I think that would be really fun. Like that's a really cool. I like that. If that's what tournament brawls are going to be, I am on board with that 100%. I'm looking forward to it. I'm also looking forward to raids. But while we're talking about that, there has to be, I think, with this stuff that comes out, I think Sheeta. So Sheeta is also in my alliance, and she's free to play, but she's been playing since the game came out. And she made a post under this as well, where I think she made a really good point. And I agree with her 100%. It kind of goes along with what I said as well. There we go. Things got stuck for a second. Where is it? I actually saw it earlier, but I don't know where it is. Maybe it's on the last page. Maybe I should have gone straight to the last page. There it is. So she was talking about being 100% free to play as well. She bought the same pack that I did. The one that I bought that wasn't sponsored by Nero, I should say. So the starter pack, the $5 one. But she talks about how she's fine with everything, and even rank 2, which now that they released that there is a way to get it without getting dupes with the rank 2 wisps. I haven't gotten the wisp shards, so I don't know how hard it is to get that. I think, while I'm thinking about it, it would be cool if you could sacrifice anything that's Nat 3 or above to get rank 2 shards. So that way, as you get lots of Nat 3, Nat 4s, you have this choice of, do you want to use those to evolve up your current heroes, Or you can use those to just break down to rank up a hero that you already have at 6-star. You know, can I go towards that 6-star that you already have to getting a rank 2? I think that would be a cool use of, and it would be a tough choice for people, especially in my situation. For people who are like way high spending or way late in the game, it might be an easier choice where they're like, oh, I'm just gonna chop up my nat 3s and feed them away unless I pull something new to play with. But I think that would be a cool thing to add, another way to get shards besides just part of the event. I didn't do enough tournaments to even get that. I only did like 2 tournaments, and I got bored and kind of stopped. But she talks about the leaderboard. To back to what Sheeta was saying, she was talking about the leaderboard basically being a who pays the most money, and that's really what it is. And that's if you go back to the second half of what I said. So if I go back down here and go back to my post, see on the other one before BlueStacks crashed, I had it where like I had these 2 next to each other, so I could go back and forth fairly easily. But this was like the next thing I talked about was the impact that money has on all of this. And the biggest thing is that event rankings, they're completely purchasable, right? And it's whoever has the most money gets the most rewards. It's kind of for someone that doesn't pay a lot of money or doesn't have a lot of money to pay, it's demoralizing because you're like, what's the point of competing if it's not a competition? And this is when I want to go back to the game. So let me make this. There we go. All right, back to Summoner's Wars. What's up, Silent Ghost? Welcome to the stream. So yeah, we're back in Summoner's Wars now. Let's look at the current Water Festival, right? What do I have to do to compete in the Water Festival, to compete for these leaderboard spots that get me a guaranteed Nat 5, right? This is a guaranteed Nat 5 right here. This is a guaranteed Nat 5 OC. So what does Big H33 have to do to get this Nat 5? He has to get Enchanted Ice and Spring Water. How do you get Enchanted Ice and Spring Water? You run the dungeon, you run the scenario. The same stuff that everyone else is doing. Does he have a better team than you? No. Can he do things more efficiently than you? He might have more airships, but long story, no. These events can be broken down into, the event is clicking a button, right? And whoever wins is whoever can click the button the most time. The thing is there's a little thing that says you're only allowed to click that button once every 30 minutes for free, right? You get it once every 30 minutes for free. After that, you have to pay us money. Now, who can click the button the most, they win. Like, that is what all the events boil down to. Even Arena. So even if we look at Arena, if you look at how it's structured right now, there's not really many losses. Most of the people in Arena is just defeats. So it's not like, it's who gets the top? Well, whoever has the most Arena tokens. No one is struggling to beat many teams. And if you are struggling to beat a team, you just skip it anyways. So everything about the game right now is just who can click the button the most times, where you're limited based off of how much you pay for how many times you can click the button. That is what the game is boiling down to now. And for someone like me, it just doesn't have any competitive aspect to it because I'm not willing to pay to hit that button. I'm not an addictive sort of personality sort of mindset. You know what I'm saying? So it's not. I play the game because I want to have fun, not because I want to throw money to click a button a bunch of times. And right now, there is not, like, I am literally just clicking a button on this stuff. Like, I don't feel like I'm competing. I don't feel like I'm really gaining anything. The rewards, honestly, for what you're getting, the rewards are nice. And I don't think the rewards need to be improved or anything like that. I just don't feel satisfied in the gameplay of it. So I really would like to see some events come around that are who has the best heroes. You win the event, you win first place because you had the best, team to win. You had the best gear on your guys for this event. That's why you won. You didn't win because you paid the most. You won because you are the best. I want to see at least some events that have that sort of mentality behind them. I'm not gonna win them. I probably because I don't have. You still have to pay money to have the best heroes, to have the best gear. You're gonna have to pay money, right? Or well, it's most likely if you pay money, the odds are you can get super lucky now. Go look at some of these free to play people's barracks, and you can see they get extremely lucky. So you can get lucky and still get up there, but chances are the best geared players, the best geared heroes are going to be also the ones that pay money. So you'll still have, the people paying money get to the top, but they will get there on the merits of having the best heroes. And wherever I end up in the event is going to be based off of how good my heroes are, how good my gear is. I want that to be the scale. I don't want it to be a pay scale. Alright, anyways, let me go check out Twitch chat here. Sorry, I went off on a rant and just completely ignored Twitch chat for a bit. How do you think it could be restructured to not be pay to win? It's an auction, it's not a competition. It really is. I'm glad that Rychart sees it that way as well. How could it be structured to not be pay to win? That's hard. Honestly, the way that water, like the festival events, I don't know how you could, because there is not the inherently how the entire event is structured. You're just you're grinding old content, and it's sort of them rewarding you for stuff you already do. You already do dungeons to get gear, so they're just giving you extra rewards on top of that. You already farm scenario missions to level up your guys, so they're just giving you extra rewards on top of that. Yeah, exactly. As Rychart said, it's just free stuff. So it's kind of hard to say how do you turn that into, something that isn't just a click, or pay money to get first place. So maybe, and I'm okay with some of them being that way. Some of them are just a rat race, and the people who pay for more rats win more races. I don't know. I think I'm okay with that. The problem with me with festival events is they're just boring. They get boring, and I kind of want something else to do while I'm doing this. That's why I think if there was some fun little tournament that had a modifier on it while I was doing it. Also, once they come out with raids, and I'm wanting to build more heroes to do the raids better, or to do the alliance battles, whatever that thing was that they talked about come out, once they come out with that stuff, and I have more motivation to build more heroes, then these festivals are fine because it's doing stuff I'm already doing anyways. Something else I could do is try to add in random modifiers to the festival, maybe instead of running the same zone, you have to chase something. You run this zone 10 times and you run this zone 10 times, you chase a little thing around the map and you have to try to catch it or something like that. I don't know. Just something to kind of make it a little interesting. That sounds weird even saying it, but I think adding in the stuff that they have on the roadmap is going to help a lot with some of the motivational problems. As competitive things, they talked about revamping the arena. I really think they need to revamp the arena. How do we make that not just who buys the most things? I think defenses need to matter. You need to be able to say, you tried to attack me, you lost, now I gained from that. Right now, if you lose to me in the arena, I don't get anything. There's no reward for me winning a defense, or for me rebuffing your attack. Sure, your token is wasted, but you can just buy a new token and who cares, So there needs to be a downside for the person attacking if they lose, and there needs to be an upside for the person that lost, or that won in that defensive situation. Tournaments, I think if they have the modifiers on them, that would be good. Let's see. Rychart saying Alliance Wars is the closest thing to real competition. I don't know if you missed my thing about Alliance Wars in the beginning, but I would argue it is the closest thing to real competition, but it being limited to 4 hours, it just feels really crunched, and it's more of an attendance thing. It would be cool if it was more actual brawl, your best guy versus my best guy, your second best guy versus my second best guy, more one-on-one. And what I talked about that earlier is if you look at Clash of Clans, if you look at Summoners Wars, if you look at these other, games that have been succeeding for years now, Clash of Clans is the perfect example. It's been top 3 grossing apps for like God knows how long, 4 or 5 years, a ridiculous amount of time for a mobile game. And since they've had Clan Wars, it's been you get 2 attacks, the enemy team, everyone on the enemy team gets 2 attacks. You have 24 hours to use it, and that's it. You don't get any more. You can do less if you don't use them, but you don't get any more than 2. So what that introduces a significant amount of strategy, where you say, do I want my best guy to go against a weaker opponent and guarantee a crushing defeat, or do I want him to go against a higher opponent, their best opponent, because no one else on our team can even take on that opponent? He only got 2 attacks, so we have to be strategic with where they go. Now it's just, I can just hit anyone I want. I have tons of ships, I have tons of energy, I can just do whatever I want. So I think it should be, the time should be extended, but there should be a fixed amount of actions, or some way to constrain how much a single player can do. But yeah. So let's see, going back again behind in Twitch chat. So let's see, Hafnar says, for dungeon event, what if there was like a leaderboard based on how fast you could down F7? That would be cool. See, I could deal with that. That is a cool way to modify the dungeon event. I actually like that idea. So, it doesn't matter how many times you run F7, you're already getting rewards. F7 on the limited time dungeons are great as they are. So instead of doing it, how many times you complete it, you do a time trial. And at the end of the event, whoever has the fastest team on the time trial wins. Yeah, that would be really cool. The only downside there is, how do you time it? Because right now there's some weird stuff with loads and stuff like that. So it would have to be done on the server side, kind of like the way that auto battles are done right now. That way there's no client lag, I guess. But yeah, if you could submit this team for a time trial, they go off and they do their thing, and then you get the result to see how long it took. And then, you can obviously watch your replay to see your guys in action, sort of deal. That would be cool. I think that would be a cool way to do that, Leo. But that's a good idea, I like that. So see, Rychart says there's a weekend event in addition to a weekly event at all times now. Okay, cool. So what is the weekend event now? So let's see, the weekend just ended. I guess the weekend event was the tournament. I guess so. Is it not time-based? Why not time-based, Rychart? I think that's a great idea. It'd be, you guys would have to obviously do everything server side. Alliance War is the one this weekend. Okay. I think, if there was a way that it just, I don't see a way that you can make a set 4-hour time frame work for everyone, for your entire player base. I don't see how that's possible. People are always going to be screwed with their schedule. Oh, you're saying they're not time-based last time. But yeah, okay, yes. No, they weren't. They were total completions. I thought he was saying that it should be. Yeah, he's saying what if there was like a leaderboard. I think he's trying to say what if it was. I think it would work. Yeah, that's what I'm saying, Rychart. It doesn't work for everyone, period. I agree with that 100%. If you set a time and it's only 4 hours long, people are going to get shafted. It doesn't matter when you move that 4-hour period, what day you do it on. It doesn't matter. The only thing you can do is open it up to something reasonable and let people attack. Let people use their actions whenever they're available to use actions. And that's what I've been saying since Alliance Wars came out, when I said it needs to go back to the drawing board. Is I think that needs to happen. Alliance Wars needs to be designed around a philosophy where the user attacks when he can. He uses his actions when he can. And right now it can't be done that way, just because of how it's designed. It has to be a live thing, and it's not going to work because it can't work for everyone. And yeah, Hafnar is clarifying that he was saying that. Let's see. Yeah, I agree 100%. What I'm talking about is not Alliance Wars in its current manifestation. You know, it's not. It's something completely different. And that's what I've been saying. I haven't been saying Alliance Wars need to be 24 hours long. I've been saying it needs to go back to the drawing board and be changed. You know, and maybe you could have a different type of alliance versus alliance thing that's, and you could keep your current Alliance Wars. I don't see how it could ever be successful. I understand what you're going for, where you want it to be like everyone gets online with their friends at the same time. We all make a joint push, you know, kind of like raiding in an MMO. You know, everyone gets online at the same time and you go for it. The difference is, you know, in an MMO, you're not fighting other players, so there's not that aspect of it. And the big thing of it is this is a mobile game that has a very play at your own pace feel. I mean, it's the whole point of having these ships that I can queue up doing multiple things here, turn off my phone, go do something, and then come back an hour later and collect the rewards. Like, you know, and Alliance Wars kind of goes against that. It's a 4 hour action pack, do everything all at once thing. Um, and with raids and stuff like EverQuest and WoW and all these other MMOs, the guilds choose when they do it. You know, it's not WoW that's telling me when to log on for the raid. It's the guild that I joined telling me, you know, deciding. We all get together and we decide when's the best time for all of us to do this. That's why it works for those games. You know, I can't think of a single game at all, whether it's a PC, you know, tablet or phone game, mobile game, whatever, that has a like you and your friends get on at this time and play together. You know, I can't think of a single game that does that. Um, yeah, that's it. Um, Anyways, okay, I am way behind on Twitch chat. Let me read up here. I've been trying to go back with Rychar, so sorry, like Silent Ghost, I kind of missed you. The most important thing is to fix PvP if you want to have fair competition. Yes, yes, I agree with that. I talked about that a little bit earlier about PvP. And in the way you fix to have fair competition is, you know, you need to be rewarded for defenses, which means, you know, maybe separating out attacks and defenses. I don't know. They did say they're going to be working on Arena, so it'll be interesting to see what they do with that. Allow people to progress faster is fine, but you still need to give free-to-play players the opportunity. Just just takes more work. Yeah, that sort of goes along the same mentality of what I'm talking about with competition right now in general, where there is nothing I can do to get my team to the point where I can beat someone else because the event isn't about beating someone else, it's about paying more than someone else. So, let's see. And yeah, Hafnar, he was saying it should be a time thing. I think that's a really, really, really good idea for the dungeons. Whoever can do it the fastest and gets the fastest clock time is the one that gets first place in that event. Um, Setting up alliance battles like the game of Risk, that's interesting. Yeah, exactly. So I missed Silent Ghost saying exactly what I said like a few seconds later. That in an MMO, you pick your raid times with your raid team. I can't, again, I can't think of a single game that does. Okay, back to what Rychar was saying. Two sides of the coin. You can log in for Alliance War if you're at the grocery store, but you can't raid it while at the grocery store. That's true, but come on, you gonna be on your phone trying to do Alliance Wars at the grocery store? Probably not. Yeah, that is true. The player base not being large enough that you can get a fair match whenever you want to queue. Um, I guess that's one of the advantages that like Clash of Clans has over Alliance Wars is they have a much larger player base. So right now in Clash of Clans, you don't just, you know, you're assigned an opponent based off of your clan's ranking, or sort of they try to do some sort of metric based off how good your bases are. But you're assigned that whenever you actually start your war. It does a search, it finds an opponent, and then it matches you against them. So it's not like you know, there's enough clans out there that it can do that. I don't think there's enough alliances. There's definitely not enough alliances out there that you could initiate that search on an on-demand basis. So Yeah, I would agree. And honestly, every Alliance War that I've been in has been a different experience. It started off being like fairly competitive the first 1 or 2 I was in, and then it went to the other teams just didn't even do anything. Like, they just gave up before it even started. And then another one where they gave up before it started. And then the last one we had was actually fairly close, like relatively close. I think we were probably within 10% score for most of the war. And it was pretty intense. But again, I missed the first 3 hours of it. And that was the one where at the end, some players on the other side were like, this sucks. We lost because we had people who couldn't attend for these 4 hours. And I wouldn't say anything, but reading through our guild chat leading up to the war, I knew that we had some big players that weren't going to be able to be there for those 4 hours as well. I really wish there was a way. I think even if you scheduled it on a day, opening it up to a longer amount of times. I don't know. Like you said, what I am describing is a different type of event than what you guys currently have with Alliance Wars. Opening it up to a longer play would be how it was in the beginning, which would not that was terrible. It was a huge downtime of just not doing anything because you knew who the winner was already. But yeah, with its current form, again, I'm repeating the same thing I already said. In its current form, I don't see how to make Alliance Wars really work for everyone. And that sucks because it means that people are always going to get not shafted, but people are always going to get left out. And that's the thing is like, I don't care if I miss rewards. I don't care if I'm not able to get to the top. I care about having fun. At the end of the day, I want to have fun. I want that's why I play a game. I play a game to have fun. So as long as you guys keep throwing stuff that's fun to do out there, I'm gonna be happy no matter what the outcome is, no matter what the rewards are. But that's just me. Other people are more competitive. I'm pretty competitive too, but I know my place. I know that with like my current hero set, I'll never get in the top 20 in the arena. That sort of deal. But I take pride whenever I get in top 100 in a lot of these events. Obviously, this one I'm not going to be nowhere near it because I haven't logged on enough to actually do that. Anyway, so let's see, 100% attendance versus concurrent gameplay. It's a tough call. Yeah. Have these offline. Yeah, I agree. Nothing else has something like Alliance Wars. I agree with that 100%. But I think what you guys at Rumble have to ask yourselves is why. Sometimes if it doesn't exist for a reason. It doesn't exist because no one's thought of it yet or no one's tried to do it yet. Maybe it doesn't exist because it doesn't work. That's all I would say. And maybe once the player base gets larger, it could work. Because you could have it more on demand. But as it is right now, I think it's going to cause more grief than it's going to cause enjoyment for people. And you want people having fun because it's those people having fun that are going to want to invest more in your game. It's and I think it's like groups of people. There's the group of people that just want to have fun. Then there's a group of people that have fun by stomping other people into the ground. And even those players, like, there's really no sense of doing that. Like right now, you stomp people into the ground by spending more money. Alliance Wars, I think a lot of people get frustrated because you can strategically do stuff to prevent that, or they're not online to be able to do the stomping. Yeah, I would agree. It is fun when you're able to participate on it. And I think that might be some of the drawback. There's two things. One is my opinion is I'm mad because I missed fun. I'm like, oh man, something fun happened, but I wasn't online, so I couldn't participate in it. I missed out on fun. The other side is, it would have been fun, but we lost, and we lost because so and so couldn't get online. So it's not our fault. It's not my fault that I wasn't a good player. It's your fault because you scheduled it whenever one of our teammates couldn't be available. And I think if you know, on demand starting of it, and where if you could talk between your alliance and say, you know, we're gonna do our alliance wars Friday at 6 p.m., 6 to 10 p.m. That's whenever we're gonna schedule our, you know, alliance wars. If we could do that, then I think it would work. But you have to have a player base to do that. And it's just not there. So I mean, from the beginning, I haven't even tried to really recommend a replacement for Alliance Wars because I see what you guys are doing, right, Chart, and I don't know how to make it work. I don't. It's a tough thing to solve, you know, and the only thing I can think of is what I've mentioned, which is I would say a completely different feature. Maybe break it apart. Maybe put in something else, like take out Alliance Wars, put it on the shelf for a little bit, create something called, like, we have Alliance Brawls. I don't know what that's going to be, but have something that's more reminiscent of what you see in other games. Um, and then once the player base grows, then you can bring Alliance Wars back off the shelf again and put a 2.0 after it and be like, reintroducing Alliance Wars after so much time. You know, I don't know. But yeah, it's just hard to make it work right now. Let's see. Bambi Star says, how about 4x 1 hour over 24 hours? That could be interesting, but I don't know. Maybe if you were playing the same, maybe that's an interesting concept. You play the same match like 3 times in a row, right? With like maybe an hour in between each one. And then whoever wins best out of 3 wins the entire gambit. That could be interesting. Yeah, Alliance Wars is an ambitious feature. I'll give you guys that, right, Charlie? Yeah, it's the there. I don't see any way to make it a piece. I mean, you shouldn't. Like, you're never gonna make all your games happy. Okay, you can't argue with the fact that World of Warcraft is the most successful game of all time. Look at how many players it's had, look at how long it's been running, look at their gross profits. From every metric that you can possibly think of, it is the greatest game of all time. Now go to their forums. If that is the greatest game of all times and their forums are full of people just bashing the hell out of them, then you can very easily see that great games, even a great game, isn't going to be able to make everyone happy. It's, in fact, most people aren't going to be, not most people, the most vocal, out of the vocal people, the majority of vocal people are not going to be happy. Like, that's just the nature of, you know, how voices are. You know, typically the loudest voices are the voices of dissent sort of deal, you know. That's true with every game I've ever played. You know, the people screaming the loudest, the people that love it, and the people that hate it. The people that are just there to kind of have fun typically don't speak up, which is, I don't know, I like to consider myself that rare minority that, you know, and honestly, I don't do this on most games. This is the first game I've ever streamed on. I keep doing it because people seem to enjoy it, so why, you know, I'm glad I can give back to the community, but, you know, my voice is definitely a minority when it comes to trying to view gaming as a rational, having fun sort of thing. I know it's not, you know, it's not what can the game do to make me have fun. It's what can the game do to make itself fun. You see what I'm saying? And at the end of the day, if Rychart and Rumble, they might decide to do stuff that I don't agree with and I don't find fun, and I'll just find something else to play. It's no hard feelings towards them, and I would hope they have no hard feelings towards me. You know, that's just the nature of how I am. That's how the nature of how games are. There's plenty of games out there that people love that I don't enjoy because they're not my cup of tea. I just think Alliance Wars is something that, to me, has a lot of, the base concept is a lot of fun. I really like it. And, you know, maybe where I'm at in my life, where I like being able to sporadically play something and not have to be online 24/7 like I used to back in my college WoW days. Maybe that's, you know, one of the appeals to it. Let's see, do I got anything good here? Alright, right chart. See ya. Thanks for having a productive back and forth. It's always good to get sort of the dev, or at least one of the devs' mindsets. And another thing you guys got to think about is people like Rychar. He's one dev of many, you know. So I can't blame him personally for any decisions that are made. You know, I'm willing to bet he's not even, you know, the top decision maker. At the end of the day, they probably have someone that's counting bucks that's like, hey, I don't care what you or your players think, you have to do this because we need money. And he just has to do it. So I can't, you know, blame him for decisions. What I can do is hopefully push some thoughts, you know, that subtle approach. But let's see, what else are people saying? Yeah, there's no. He was saying that there's no answer to this problem. Talking about Lions Wars, where people can't find a center. There's no answer to anything where people aren't gonna find hate. That's just how it is. I just think it would be nice if more people could do it. And I think if there was a bigger player base and you could choose when you started your battles, that a lot of this would go away. But unfortunately, it's not it. Yeah, and as Bambi said, you know, a lot of it has to do with the activity. That sucks. Yeah, you are right about that. When Vanilla WoW came out, there was nothing. But this is kind of funny. So speaking of Vanilla WoW, back whenever, I think it was, yeah, it was Vanilla WoW. It was probably, I want to say about 6 months before they released the first expansion. I kind of didn't play WoW for a long time because I never even had a computer that could run it way back in the day. But whenever I did first start playing WoW, I got to level 18. And there was like a big wall in experience where to get from level 18 to 19, it was really difficult to do. And there was no quest to really push you through that. You had to like grind for it. But you were kind of like, the stuff that you could kill was very easy and didn't give much experience. The stuff that was a little bit above you, that was like level 20, was almost impossible to kill. And after like a day of that, I just gave up and I quit. And I actually put down WoW and didn't play again until ICC. Or not ICC, but the Lich King expansion was whenever I came back. Because that wasn't fun to me. I was like, I am not bashing my head against a wall trying to get from level 18 to level 20 because they put a gap in. And like all my friends were like, oh, you just have to get through it, man. You got to get through it. And I was like, no, screw that. I'm going to play a different game. And so I did. Anyways, it's kind of funny story. So yeah, WoW, and a lot of people rave that Vanilla WoW is the greatest. And they should go back to the glory days. And I'm like, are you guys kidding me? Like, that was garbage. But again, people have opinions, you know. Let's see. Hoffner says, in general, it's a good sign for the game. They posted the roadmap. Yeah, exactly. They just need to keep people informed. I went and said, so I made a post saying, look, this game is getting stale. I'm getting bored. Please do something. And then they put out the roadmap. Like, if they would have had that roadmap all along, I would have never posted that. I would have become less active and I would have patiently waited. But as soon as stuff became available to play, I would have hopped back on it. I do that with games all the time. I mean, there's tons of games that I let live for a little bit, and then once they pick back up, I jump back on the bandwagon. Or not bandwagon, but I start having fun again. And that's how games, that's what a healthy game should be like. You know, but you need to let people know that things are coming. You need to let your players know that, hey, there's going to be more to this game. Just sit tight. All right, let's see. Let's just do some arenas. It's going to be fun. I should be able to use my my new little Nat 5 guy against this guy. What's up, Castron? C4? I'll call you C4. Yeah, BC was pretty good from what I hear. I just came in after it. Alright, let's see. Against this team, I don't want to use... I'm going to do like this. I think this team will work. It'll probably work. I have no healer, but I might not need a healer. And we'll target this guy first. Well, we'll just see. So this should work. Oh, you cast iron. I see it now. I don't know why I didn't see it cast iron. Here, I'm gonna see if I can link it in Twitch chat. The roadmap. It's on the forums. So I have it up on my other monitor. I did a second ago. Let me see if I can find it again. I should be able to find it in like 2 seconds. Maybe a little bit more than 2 seconds. Where are you, roadmap? There it is. Alright, posting in Twitch chat. There you go, that's the roadmap. Alright. See, oh, I should have brought a gnat. I didn't even think about that. Let's see if I can... No, I don't want to use that. That would be bad. I need to use that on his champ whenever his champ does his champ thing. That's not good. Don't... Oh, I should have brought someone who is tanky and water. Oh, no, I needed the stealth. Let's see. I don't want to reset his skills yet, but if I don't reset, like I might not survive much longer. This dragon here might take me out. This might take me out. Oh, it didn't. Thank God. Alright. I don't want to do it yet. It seemed like it took. I guess maybe the water champ has that other ability he prioritizes. Oh, that hurt. It doesn't matter. Watch my Petra solo this whole team. Oh, never mind. I forgot. She revives. Come on, Petra. You can do it. Oh, no. You got hit harder than that. That was dumb. I should have brought a gnat. I had no heals, no dispels. Should have known better. Alright, I'll do one more arena. Every time I try to use my little gunner guy, it doesn't really go so well. Let's see, this is gonna be a little annoying because of this chick here. How fast is she? Pretty fast. Should be able to do something like... maybe like this? Let's try that. So we got multi-hitters, we got tanks, we got heals. Really, if we can take out the dragon, then we're good. Then again, I think I saw that she has an Anat. The opponent has an Anat too, which is gonna... Oh, no, it's an Eos. I ain't too worried about Eos. Oh wait, don't kill my guy round 1. Thank you. Oh man, there he goes. Well, he did a lot of good, didn't he? Yeah. Maybe we should take out this guy. I've actually never seen one of him before. Man, I underestimated the hell out of this team. Oh. Yeah, I mean, I should, you're right, but I already started on him. So, oh, I didn't crit him. That sucks. See, my plan was to take Gaius out first. And then I changed it. I shouldn't have changed it. Should have stuck with my plan. Oh, and he's on super crit too. This is what I get for trying out new teams. Oh man. Just critting. Oh, I guess he wasn't water. Yep, that hesitation. Alright, we'll do another one. We'll do another one. Yeah, I shouldn't have brought Mido into that fight because he didn't really do much for me at all. Oh man, this is one of them teams that if it outspeeds me, it could be bad. Might be able to outspeed him. Let me see. See if I can outspeed him. So apparently BlueStacks 3 is out now. Wonder if that won't crash. Doesn't matter, BlueStacks. I already went around you. I know how to share my other monitor now. I changed the speeding on this, by the way, so that my I sped up my mech. So now my mech goes first and can put up this evasion before my Eos goes, and then my Eos goes and extends the evasion, even though he stole a turn. But still, you guys get the idea. Pretty cool stuff. And then see, I can force a heal. Alright, come on, everyone. I think I got. Oh yeah, she woke back up, so it was her turn. Did get everyone. Yep. Yep, GG. You ain't coming back. Alright. Back to my normal team. See, that's the thing. It's like I pulled the Nat 5 and I keep trying to like plug them in. I keep trying different teams, but at the end of the day, I go back to the team that I used to use, you know, a month ago, and it's still the team that works the best. I just skip the teams that are gonna outspeed me, and that's it. Anyways, alright, well, I'm gonna end the stream there, guys. So everyone have a good evening, and I'll see y'all next time. And to the devs out there, keep up the roadmap notes. We like that. See ya.